What's new for PDFelement 10 for Mac? Part 2. Now, let's move on to the new features related to efficient batch process management. If you weren't aware of batch processes, let me bring you up to speed. Batch management features allow us to speed up certain processes that might be considered repetitive. For example, printing processes. Printing a document may seem routine and straightforward, right? But can you imagine that instead of printing one document, you had to print 100? Wow, it completely changes things, doesn't it? Well, that's what batch management features are all about. Tools focused on optimizing your time and reducing the effort required to complete repetitive tasks that could be time-consuming. Interesting, isn't it? PDFelement 10 introduces two new and powerful tools to our batch process management feature set: Create PDFs and Compress PDFs. Let's start by taking a look at Create PDFs. Imagine you're involved in an advertising project and closely collaborate with an extensive team to design and produce brochures, posters, and images for social media. As expected, some of your colleagues are comfortable working with PowerPoint to design brochures. Others prefer using Word for creating pamphlets, and still others use raster graphics editing software like Photoshop or vector editing software like Illustrator to create stunning posters or images for social media. In the end, everyone ends up sending you their work, and you end up with dozens of files in various formats: PowerPoint, DocX, PNGs, and JPEGs. It's up to you to convert all those documents into separate PDFs that you can then display and share in the presentation meeting with the client or the marketing team. Can you imagine how tedious it would be to, alongside your daily tasks, have to spend a couple of hours converting all these documents into PDFs one by one? This is where Create PDFs comes in. Create PDFs allows us to create multiple PDFs at once in a single effortless process and in the shortest time possible. All you have to do is access the Batch PDF tool, and you'll see a window with all the available tools in PDFelement for batch process management. In this window, head over to the Create PDFs tool. Right at the center, you'll come across a message inviting you to drag and drop the files you want to convert into PDFs. Once you've added all the documents you want to convert, you can choose the page size for the PDFs you're about to create, which is especially useful if the documents will be printed. Once everything is ready, just click on Apply. Now you just need to set the location to save all the PDFs and click Save. And in just a matter of seconds, PDFelement will have converted all your documents into PDFs. Pretty easy, right? A process that would typically take a lot of time now only takes a few seconds. The second new batch management feature that PDFelement 10 adds to our toolbox is Compress PDFs. We all know how frustrating it can be to deal with heavy documents, especially when it comes to sending and sharing them using free messaging services. Digital messaging services often impose file size limits for what you can send. For example, Gmail allows you to send 25 megabytes, while many other services set their limit at 20 megabytes. Imagine you're in a situation where you have an important project to share with your team. It's a collection of research reports, proposals, and presentations, all stored as PDFs. You've carefully prepared these documents, ensuring they contain all the necessary details, but there's a catch: they exceed the file size limits imposed by your email service provider, meaning that sending them in their current form isn't an option. So you decide to use PDFelement's compression feature to reduce the size of your documents. But you realize that you have not just one, but a batch of large PDFs that need to meet those strict size requirements. So compressing them manually and individually could easily take you several hours. Well, here's where the new Compress PDFs feature comes to the rescue. First, go to the Batch PDFs feature and select the Compress PDFs tool. Much like with Create PDFs, you have the option to drag and drop files for compression. However, for a different approach, let's explore an alternative by using the Add button at the bottom of the window. This will bring up a small pop-up window where you can choose whether you prefer to select files individually or if you prefer to select entire folders. Once you've finished selecting the files you need to compress, pay attention to the panel on the right. In this panel, you can choose between 3 compression levels: high, medium, and low compression. If you consider your files are not too heavy and you just need to reduce their size a little bit, you can choose the low option. But if this is not the case and you're dealing with quite large files, I would suggest you try the medium option. Once you've selected the compression level that better suits your needs, click on Apply. Next, you'll see a window like this. In this window, we can assign a prefix or a suffix to our documents. This step is quite useful because it helps us easily differentiate between the versions of our documents. But keep in mind that this is optional, and if you think it might confuse those to whom you'll send the document, you can check the Keep Original File Names box. Once you've chosen one of these options, click on Done and select the destination location for your compressed files. And that's it. In just a few seconds, I've reduced the size of my documents by half or even more. No complications, no repetitive tasks. Amazing, right? The size of your files will no longer hinder you from sending or sharing them. Oh, and speaking of sending and sharing your documents, I have fantastic news that I want to share with you. In PDFelement 10, the share feature has been completely revamped. And trust me, these changes make sending and sharing documents through this feature extremely easy and convenient. From now on, every time you access the share feature, PDFelement will offer you 3 different methods for sharing your documents: link, QR code, and email, as well as the option to protect access with a password or not. By using one of these methods, PDFelement will upload our document to the Wondershare cloud. And depending on the method we've chosen, we can grant access to other people to view our document through the Wondershare PDF web viewer. Sharing via a link is probably the most convenient option for most cases, because with this option you get a link that you can share through any messaging application. On the other hand, when it comes to scenarios like meetings, presentations, and conferences, sharing via a QR code proves to be the perfect choice. It facilitates a smooth document sharing without diverting the audience's attention from the visual materials. Lastly, using email to share documents is our go-to when we want to convey a sense of trust and professionalism, while also reaching a wide audience. Amazing, right? I personally consider these document sharing options to be extremely valuable. The QR code sharing method is my preferred choice as it demonstrates to my clients and colleagues that my workflow is exceptionally efficient, projecting an image of professionalism and proactive effectiveness. To conclude this video, let's take a look at the changes made to the Forms feature. As you probably know, PDF documents are widely used for creating and sharing forms. Nowadays, it's common to come across forms that include interactive fields that can be intuitively filled out using PDF viewers or web browsers, eliminating the need for ink or paper and making a process that used to be slow considerably simpler and faster. For some time now in PDFelement, we have a Forms tab that provides a toolkit for creating interactive forms, and recently, in PDFelement version 10, a couple of incredible improvements have been added to improve the forms creation experience, making form creation easier and more useful than ever. Allow me to explain with a practical example. This is a grammar test that I want to transform into an interactive form with radio buttons. To ensure that students don't have to print it, I need to add fields they can use to enter their names and their current date. Thankfully, in PDFelement 10, we can include date entry fields that not only simplify the process of entering dates, but also ensure consistent date formatting. This date field, along with a simple text field, is the exact combination I need to organize the students' results later. However, to avoid issues, I need to guide the students to fill out these fields. Fortunately, among the general preferences from its field properties, there's an option that allows me to insert a label to make it easy to understand what these fields are for. The best part is, I can also check the required box to require students to fill out the fields to continue. And to make it easy for students to find these fields, I'll navigate to the second tab in this Fields Properties panel to customize their experience. Great, now I'll begin converting the answers to these multiple choice questions into buttons. I'll begin by adding a button next to the first choice in the first question, but please pay attention to the message that appears on the right panel. This message explains that to create buttons as choices for the same question, they need to have the same name. In my case, it's quite straightforward. I'll name the options according to their corresponding questions. Perfect, I'm nearly done with the button settings, but there's one more thing left to do. In the General tab within the Field Properties panel, you'll find the Options section. Inside this section, there's an option called Radio Button Choice. Here, I can assign a particular value to the button. I know this may be a bit confusing because through manual review, you can easily identify which option the student chose, but trust me, this will make a lot more sense later. The next step is to create the rest of the buttons. Since this is option A, I can save a lot of time by using the Create Multiple Copies option from the Buttons context menu to generate multiple A buttons and adjust their position to match the layout within the other A options. Now I just need to adjust their names and repeat the process for options B and C. Now, for the finishing touches, I'd like to change the color of the buttons to match the color I chose for the headings. Fortunately, in PDFelement 10, you can select multiple fields at once to modify their attributes simultaneously. It's as simple as opening the Field Properties panel while selecting all the elements I need to modify, and use the panel on the right to set the border color I want. And there you go. This exam is ready to be sent to the students. What you see on the screen is the form I just created, open in 3 different applications: Preview, Safari, and PDFelement. As you can see, it's not necessary to always use PDFelement to fill out the interactive form I've just created. However, in addition to the benefits of accessibility and convenience, there's a very good reason why I chose to turn this exam into a digital form. Pay attention to this. As soon as the students send me their completed exams, I can use the batch data extraction feature to extract all the answers from all the exams at once into a CSV file, which we can open in Excel. This method allows me to create a file for reviewing all student answers at once. If you are proficient with Microsoft Excel, you'll find some useful ways to analyze this data. Let me show you what I usually do. First, I add a new row to enter the correct answers that correspond to each question. Then I select the answers from one column to compare if they are equal to the answer cell using the conditional formatting feature to highlight the coincidences. Fantastic, right? Forms in PDFelement 10 unlock countless possibilities. In this case, I showed you how to use PDFelement and Excel to review exam answers in the shortest time possible. However, there are many ways you could take advantage of this feature. With this power at your fingertips, you can create all sorts of well-structured databases, significantly reducing the effort that might otherwise take days, weeks, or even months to just a few minutes. Well, that's all about the latest changes that PDFelement 10 has brought to our working environment. Remember that right now, PDFelement is already available for you to download for free, both from the App Store and the official PDFelement website. If you already have version 9 of PDFelement and want to start enjoying all these new features, you can simply use the App Store to update your application to the latest version of PDFelement without having to do anything else. Before I say goodbye, I want to thank you for staying with me till the end of this video. If this video was helpful to you, I'd appreciate it if you could like this video and subscribe to this channel, and I will continue bringing you more videos with many tips and tricks to make your work easier. You can also take a look at the rest of the videos on this channel. There you will find more videos just like this one. Have a great day and see you next time.